Welcome to everyone for this lovely, meaningful Monday.
Thank you.
Pleasure. Today is the 1st of March. And for the people who've joined before, warm welcome back. And to the new people that have joined, thank you so much for joining. I really appreciate you. Thank you for taking the time. Not so much for me, but taking the time for yourself. It just demonstrates that you honor yourself, take care of yourself, and are doing something to improve your life somehow, some way. And that deserves just a mention. And I commend you, because not many people do that. And the world's a challenging place in itself, just to navigate life with grace and ease. So every bit of help that you can get to improve your life, that you're taking action, intentionally, is worth an applause. So well done to everyone. And then what I'm going to just do is just a quick housekeeping. I'm going to put the microphones onto mute only if there's background noise. So you can manage your own microphone. If you do have any noise in your household, you can just mute your own mic right now. I'll leave them as they are because it seems very quiet. If I do hear any noise, I might just mute everyone. However, I will be asking you some questions as we go along, and I do enjoy participation from everyone. So when that happens, please unmute your own microphone and just speak. Don't wait. Some people wait to have someone else speaking. No, you just unmute and you speak. Otherwise, no one ends up going first. So just for the new people, just to let you know that Meaningful Monday is really about raising awareness. The Silver Method thread has gone a bit busy. I just want to see if anyone's struggling for a link. All right, sorry, let me just pass the link on because they are just without it. Sorry about this, but let me just give it to them before they can't join. So copy to clipboard. All right, there we go. So as I said, Meaningful Monday is to raise awareness, and the main awareness that I'm trying to raise is that we do create our own reality. And the more we focus on this, and the more we begin to not only understand it, but really believe it, and even more so to own it and integrate it into our life and make it a way of life, the better our life becomes. And this topic tonight falls exactly in line with that, talking about shouldn't blame. They simple words, but they mean an enormous amount. So I might be sharing something that you probably already know. It probably isn't going to be something way, way, way out there that's new, but the awareness to bring it to the front and center, to make a whole hour out of discussing this, is really worth your while, because your happiness really does depend on how empowered you feel about your own life. And what I'm going to discuss tonight will show you how we can disempower ourselves just like that, and it actually becomes a habit. So if there's any questions as we go along, please feel free to ask them. Just a quick welcome there to John, who's just joined, and if anyone else has joined since Michelle. Welcome, Michelle. Nice to see you. Thank you so much for joining. And yep, I think we've got everybody there. All right, so let's talk about the subject. What I do want to say is...
Sorry, I've just got a quick question, if you don't mind.
Sure.
This procedure's now changed, has it? So to get to Meaningful Monday, we don't go through any links. We go through Everbright, do we? Whatever that is.
Well, I've just put the link there now. It's always been the same. The link's always via Eventbrite, so it's the same every time, and it's the same link every week. So if you've got it once, you just save it, because it'll be the same link every single week.
Good point. Okay, done. Thank you.
All right. Cheers. Pleasure, John. Pleasure. Okay. So I just want to start off by saying, why do I do what I do? And I've put this on the top of every single slide in a little corner, and at the top that you'll see it just says creating a better world. And you might think, what's that got to do with tonight's topic? The whole of Meaningful Monday, all the work that I do teaching the Silver Method or John Maxwell's teachings on leadership, any masterminds I run, whether it's Think and Grow Rich, As a Man Thinketh, there's a new one coming up I'll share with you. It's all about creating a better world. And if any of you are joining tonight because you think this that I'm going to talk might add any value to you, then the way I explain creating a better world is then you share this. If this is of value to you, share it with someone that you care about. There are guaranteed to be people in your life who need this more than you do. And you're already taking good care of yourself by being present here, but there are people who are not having such a good experience and life is difficult for them. So whatever's helped you, it could be this, it could be a book, it could be a course, anything that's helped you, help other people with exactly what's helped you. And that's how we create a better world. The fact that I teach the Silver Method today, which for those who don't know what that is, it's a 4-day personal development program that helps develop the mind, and in every area of your life you can improve. I would have never come to teach that if it didn't help me, and it helped me so much I felt compelled to teach it to others. So that's creating a better world, and every one of us can do the same thing in your own environment, your own family. There are people here tonight, one of them, like Vandana, brought her son to the Silver Method just a week ago or 2 weeks ago, whenever it was. And that's another example, sharing it with her child who she loves and cares for so much, and the benefits last a lifetime. So whatever it may be, I'm just saying, it could be anything. Creating a better world is share the tools and techniques that have helped you with other people. So this that's recorded tonight is available on my YouTube channels at the bottom there, called Silver Method Australia. All this, the Meaningful Mondays are there, and they an array of different topics, all kinds of topics. So let's get on to tonight. This thing about rid yourself of should and blame. Now, maybe you've heard the expression, don't shoot yourself in the foot. Well, should is quite a big word. But before we get into that, I want to just quickly jump onto the understanding from psychology. So in psychology, there's something called the internal locus of control and the external locus of control. So what does it mean to be external? Well, to be external in your locus of control, I'm just going to read something. I've got a note here. Basically, it comes from psychology. And in 1989, a particular education psychologist, her name is Emmy, or a woman, Emmy Werner, published the findings of a 30-year study following the lives of about 700 children on an island in Hawaii. And she saw that despite some very adverse early life events, a significant proportion of the children developed very successful habits and became very successful in their adulthood. So even though we understand that a stable, positive adult presence is important, there were children who actually flourished without an adult presence in their life and a very challenging childhood. So the children who thrived despite the lack of early support, the reason that they found they thrived was they had a very strong sense of self-awareness and a very strong sense of an internal locus of control. And then just basically what it means is, when you have an external locus of control, it means that you assign responsibility for how you feel to things in your external environment. So you don't say, I'm feeling unhappy because I'm choosing to be unhappy in the situation. You say, oh, I'm unhappy because, you know, he did that and she did that. So it's about external factors. And then just another reference, in 1966, this term of the external internal locus of control was coined by a particular man, Julian Rotter, and he describes how much a person believes they themselves versus external factors control their lives. And I remember being in university studying many years ago now, and I was doing the MBA, and in organizational psychology, I think it was, we had to do a test on ourselves and actually got a score of our internal, external or internal locus of control. And at the time, I was surprised to know and to learn that statistically, most people have an external locus of control. And then in some research to prepare for tonight's webinar, I found that it's actually 75% of people have an external locus of control. So just think about what we're saying here. 75% of people, 3 out of every 4, will tell you that the way they feel, whether it's good or bad, is because of something in the outside world. Now, this may sound like not a big deal. Why is Janine taking so long to get this point across? Well, I'm taking so long to get a point across because if we live that way, that our happiness or unhappiness is because of something on the outside, so an event, something someone said or did, that means that I am forever going to be a puppet on someone else's string. The way I feel is determined by something on the outside. I can't control the outside world. So that means I can never be in control of my own happiness. And I can never shift from being unhappy to happy by my own choice because someone made me sad. Someone made me unhappy. So this is very, very important. And however you are, I don't know however you are, I would just say Google an online free locus of control personality test. There's got to be a free one online. Just do it and get a score for yourself about yourself and see where you are. And then if you are not that high in it, I would say decide that every single day you are going to make a concerted effort to become a person who has as much as possible an internal locus of control, that you are the person deciding how you feel. And that means that no matter what happens in life, no matter what happens, and I'm talking about no matter what, including death of a loved one, including divorce, including redundancy, including illness, whatever it may be, that you know that you are actually the person choosing how you feel and not being a victim and saying, I feel like this, oh, I can't help feel like this, look what they did, that kind of thing. So an example, it says here, if you are external and you assign responsibility for your emotional state in your present moments to someone, something externally to yourself. Well, for example, if someone said to you, why do you feel so bad? And they said, well, she hurt my feelings, or my friends don't like me, or everyone is bugging me. You will never find fulfillment in your life, and you will never find happiness in your life, because you are always controlled by external, call them forces, external things, people. They're just external forces. So we really aren't at the whim of other people's actions and behaviors or lives. We really are the ones who are in charge here, and that's what we need to really come to own. Now, some people think that being effective or having a happy life or being successful is eliminating all the problems in your life. Now, that is the furthest thing from the truth. We don't get happier by eliminating problems, and we don't get more successful by eliminating problems, or let's say more effective in our life by eliminating problems. No. It means that you move your locus of control from the external to the internal. So what that means is internal means you take control over your own thinking, over your own feelings, and over your own behaviors. So I want you to just, if you're making notes, please make notes. I mean, I would love you to make notes for yourself. If you are making notes, just write down, all my problems, top of the page, my problems, underline that, all my problems. And then just remember that your problems actually are major opportunities for personal growth and for becoming more creative. And it's always going to be that way. And the minute we think that problems are things that stand in our way and cause us unhappiness or challenges or weakness or ineffectiveness or incapability, we are then experiencing this external locus of control. So problems are an opportunity for growth. And I must be very honest with you, there was a time in my life where I wanted to avoid problems at all costs. I wanted to avoid making mistakes. I wanted to always get things right. And if I wasn't sure I was going to get them right, I didn't even want to do them. And this was many years ago. And I came across John Maxwell's book, I think in the late 1990s, called Failing Forward. And when I read that book, and John Maxwell really says the most important thing in your life to become successful is to fail. I thought, whoa, just wait a minute, what are you saying? And the more I read the book and came, to really understand the content, I felt totally challenged by my way of thinking that making mistakes or having problems are really massive opportunities for self-improvement, and they're massive opportunities for personal growth. But if you think about improvement, there is so much benefit to making mistakes or getting things wrong if we learn from it. So it's really a complete mindset change that whenever, like now, if I see a challenge in my life, in my business, in my relationships, when it comes to money, anything along those lines, I say to myself, Janine, here's an opportunity for you to either become more creative or to learn something new that you don't know yet. Because if you knew it already, you wouldn't have this problem. And so I embrace problems with a completely different mindset without that fear, because fear is a contracting energy and it immobilizes us and keeps us stuck when the problem just sits there and then it gets bigger and bigger because we sit there stuck. Well, it's a whole different thing when you feel empowered to change the way you've dealt with problems before. And the only thing that has to change is the way you view them. It's a perception issue. So people actually don't have as many problems as they have perception problems. And it's all about, I really can't cope with this. This thing is so big. Well, if we change our mindset and you gave that very same problem to someone who you regard as highly effective and successful, you know that they wouldn't go like that and say, oh my goodness, I can't deal with this problem, I can't cope. They would have a completely different approach. And what is that? Well, it's just, well, let's see what we can do. And it's a calmness about an empowered feeling of dealing with it strategically, intelligently, maybe asking other people for advice or help. There's nothing wrong with that. It's a very good thing to do that. All I'm saying is this thing about things outside of me are in charge here versus things inside of me are in charge here is what we're saying when we talk about the internal external locus of control. So this is a paramount point, very important point I want to make right up front before we get into the rest of the Meaningful Monday. So just give yourself a score. What do you think is your locus of control from 1 to 10? I mean, internally. And just think about that. All right, so what I want you to do now, if you haven't got a pen and paper, just grab one quickly, and I'm going to give you 60 seconds, and I'm going to be quiet. What I want you to do is list the top three things. Okay, that's a bit of a spelling error. Just the top three things that you should do that you haven't yet done. Just write that down. The top three things that you should do that you haven't yet done. I'll give you 60 seconds. I'm going to time you. Just make a note. Okay, you've got about 20 seconds left. Welcome, Jackie. Hi, Jackie. Welcome. Thanks for joining. We're just in already. Whilst we're waiting for people, I've given them about a minute. Just make a note for yourself just before we move on. Just quickly, list the top three things that you should do that you haven't yet done. Your top three things that you should do. And just write that down somewhere. And just list it like that. You can even title it like that. 3 things I should do that I haven't yet done. I just want to make a quick point. So has everybody got theirs? You can unmute your mics just or raise your hands on the webinar. Have you all got your 3 things? Yep. Okay, great. Yep. Okay, good. I like all the cameras. Leave your cameras on, guys. Nice to see your lovely faces. You look much prettier than a black screen. All right, so great. Let me just move across. Okay, you got yours, Michelle? Yep. Okay, excellent. All right. Right, what I'm going to do now is just be aware of how easy that was. How easy that was to just answer that question, the top 3 things I should do. Thank you, Sam, that I haven't yet done. And thank you, Michelle, you've also answered there. And I just want to go on to something that's really important because the title of tonight is Rid Yourself of Should and Blame. So one of my favorite personal development teachers of all time, I just do admire this woman with so much of me, I don't have words to express, but Louise Hay. She says, get rid of should from your vocabulary, and this is such a big deal. So she says, I believe that should is one of the most damaging words in our language. every time we use it, we are in effect saying that we are wrong, or that we were wrong, or that we're going to be wrong. I'd like to take the word should out of our vocabulary forever and replace it with the word could. This word could, in other words, gives us choice, and we are never wrong. So if you think about what you've just written down there, it's true. If you think of what you should have done, you probably have an element of guilt. And guilt is a very dangerous and useless emotion because it doesn't serve us in any way. It just makes us feel bad. And there's actually another Meaningful Monday called The Useless Emotions of Guilt and Worry. That's a whole topic on its own. But guilt, from a psychology point of view, is a damaging emotion. It's bad for our immune system. It causes us often to be sick, believe it or not. And if it's a prolonged feeling, it can actually lead to cancer. That's how bad the emotion of guilt is. So when we use the word should, we just make ourselves wrong. And I love the way Louise Hay brought this to my attention. And she says the world is full of shoulds that people apply to their behavior. Oh, I should have remembered to do that. I should have done this. I should have done that all the time. And sometimes they're not even things that we ourselves believe in or that we actually want to do. We feel obliged. How many things do we do out of obligation? And we just don't break away from that habit. And this often is in families and things that our parents or in-laws expect of us, and we just kind of do things that we feel that we should do, but we shouldn't be doing anything for everyone. Everything should be more of a choice. So I'm going to help you with how you can shift this mindset in just a second. And then she also writes about laws. Laws are necessary, and law and order are very important as part of a civilized society. But blind adherence to convention is something else entirely. And often there are just rules that are foolish, traditions that no longer make any sense. And we just kind of do these things and follow these rules senselessly. And when we do that, what we're really doing is not being true to ourselves, and it causes a kind of deep subconscious self-betrayal. Now just think about those words, deep subconscious self-betrayal, trying to do the things that we believe are just the rules or the way it, I'll use it again, should be. And I'll just give you a really silly example, and please, you can judge me on it. I don't mind. I have a lot of opinions about this, and I don't mind being contentious here. But when it comes to Christmas, I've stopped doing the Christmas tree thing. Well, first of all, 5 years ago, maybe more, maybe no, 10 years ago, because before I came to this country, and I've been here now for 10 and a half years. So about 10 years ago, within my own family, we actually decided to stop giving each other Christmas presents, and we started to use the equivalent money and give it away, like to a charity or a cause, or even just find people in the streets and give them that money in cash. Doesn't matter what they do with it. That's not the point. Some people say, "Oh, I don't want to give them money. What if they drink it?" Well, if you give it to them with the intention that you just want to give them something on Christmas Day and hope they eat well and have some more resources for a few more days or weeks, so be it. You can't be responsible for what they do with it. It comes from your intention. So that was what I did back then. And then as time went on, I've become more aware of plastic and disposing of plastic and materialism and what shops are selling and what are we buying it for. And it's really, so I stopped the Christmas tree thing. And I've got some really heavy debates with some people in my life about how that's just really breaking an important tradition. So that's an example of a should. That's a should in my world. I don't judge anyone for having a Christmas tree. Have it all you want. I think it's a great thing. And Christmas for kids is wonderful. And I had Christmas presents as a kid, and it was the best part of the whole year and my birthday. So I don't judge anyone for it. And I don't think anything's wrong with it. But for me personally, I'm not going to buy any more of those plastic things and hang them up and improve the tree. That's just not me. But I'm not saying anyone else is wrong. But there, I'm okay to stand for criticism, and I have got it, and that's okay. I don't criticize anyone to do whatever they want to do. It's a simple example, but you know how many people are should do doing this and I should be doing that they don't really care for or want to do or believe in because they worry about what other people think. And a lot of the shoulds in our life come from what other people think. And in the most wonderful book that I really talk about a lot, Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill. He says the major fear in your life that you have to get rid of is the fear of what other people think. It's the fear of criticism. And at the back end of the book, the very last chapter is called The 6 Ghosts of Fear. And he talks about the 6 major fears that we have. And out of all 6 of them, including death, getting old, ill health, losing a loved one, poverty, all these things, the fear of criticism is at the head of the list. It is such a major fear, it controls our lives. And this fear of criticism and fear of being judged and fear of people, what they think of us, that we don't really know all the time what people think of us, and truly is none of our business, controls our lives so much that we are often making decisions that are not really ours. And there's a quote in the book that says, if we care too much about what other people think, we will have no desire of our own. When I read that, I thought that was stock, and I just thought to myself, I never want that to be me, and never let it be you. Never let you not have desires of your own. Do what you want for yourself, for your life, for the way you want to live. If you don't want to do the job that you're in, don't do it. If you don't want to be with the person that you're with, don't do it. Do what you think is right for you. And don't ever put yourself second or last or compromise yourself because of what other people think or judgments. So that I just want to mention, it does also come under the should banner and how dangerous should is. It says a should is unhealthy when it gets in the way of healthy and effective behavior. For example, I should go to church on a Sunday because, or I should put up a Christmas tree because it's something we've always done, or I should go to the funeral because it's expected of me, whatever it may be. So don't put pressure on yourself by feeling guilty for all the shoulds if they don't really suit you, if it's not what you want to do. And let's just go back to this slide. List the same 3 things and use the word could now. So look at your list where you wrote those 3 things and just write, I could, scratch out should, I could, number 1, I could, number 2, and I could, number 3. Now I'm going to give you another 1 minute, and I want you to close your eyes and think of the feeling you had before when you said, I should do this, and this, and how bad you felt. And then I want you to take a breath, close your eyes, and say it with how it's read. Say, I could do this, and this, and see if there's a shift in energy at all. I'll give you just a minute. And a warm welcome to Janice, who just joined. Janice, welcome. I hope you can hear me. And I think this is your first Meaningful Monday. Am I correct?
Yes.
Oh, very warm welcome. So just while we're waiting, how did you come to find Meaningful Monday?
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
I didn't realize. I was just searching on the internet and I was doing some research on the silver method.
Okay. All right. Well, thank you for joining and a very warm welcome, and I appreciate you being here. Welcome. Okay. So have you all done that could be coming from should? So unmute your mics for me, and I just want you to tell me, I'm not going to tell you, was there a difference in the energy of saying, I should write my book, or I could write my book, or I should enroll for this course, or I could enroll? Just tell me that. Anyone, go for it. Don't hold back.
Yeah, totally. It feels very different. It feels less of a burden to say I could as opposed to I should. And it didn't feel like, it feels like a choice now.
Thank you. It feels like a choice now. And choices are what? Starts with an E.
Emotion. No.
Empowering.
Empowering.
When we have choices in our life, we have power. That's why people think they want more money, because money gives you more choices. Choices are empowering. Choices are always empowering. Choices put you in charge of your life. It's like, I have choices. I could do this and I could do that. So thank you, Michelle. Anyone else want to share?
Yeah, it felt less of a burden. Like obviously I had a choice in the matter. I could or I couldn't. I could have done it or didn't do it. Don't have to do it. But obviously, it's more of a positive feeling, I guess.
Perfect. Yeah, less of a burden and a more positive feeling.
Mhm.
Anybody else?
Yeah, it felt freer and lighter, or I felt freer and lighter, and just a bit of excitement about, this, I could do this. This
Now,
could be possible.
I love that, Carly. Thank you so much. That feeling of excitement is going from something that actually drains your energy, because you guys mentioned burden. More than one person mentioned burden. If you put a burden on your back and have to carry around, you're going to have less energy in 10 minutes, right? So it drains your energy. And then you just said now, I had a feeling of excitement, and that's an increase in energy.
It's
So
liberating. Sorry, Jenny, if that's the word that comes to me. It literally liberates you. It's just kind of like it's complementing what everybody says. Sets you free to it, liberates you for the burden, and gives you choices. So for me, it was pretty striking, really. It's great wording, changing.
thank you. Thank you, Marcio. Thank you. Very true. Liberating. And that also liberating is that feeling of empowerment, that feeling of being free. That's what liberating is. Free because I can choose. Yeah. Anyone else? No? All right. So I'll carry on. The point is, the difference in grades of feeling are completely different between should, makes you feel really bad, and makes you wrong. Compared to the feeling of could, it's full of empowerment, it's full of energy, it's full of what you spoke about being liberating, lighter, freer, more positive feeling, less of a burden. Could, what a shift in energy. And if we repeat that every time we catch ourselves using the word should, I'm not kidding you when I tell you that you'd have a better self-esteem, because should makes you wrong. You don't even realize that at a conscious level, but it makes you wrong. And if you tell somebody else or your children or your spouse, you should blah, blah, blah. You should do your homework first. You should eat your lunch before you go and play. You should fill up the car with petrol before you take the trip. You should just say you could. You could do your homework first. Wouldn't that be a better choice? Ask them, could. Because when you're saying to someone else you should, you're making them wrong. No one wants to be made wrong. And especially if they're children, that's guilt. The worst thing ever you could do to children is to, put that guilt on them from an early age. If you think about your own lives and you're a child, if anyone used to make you feel guilty, you wanted to avoid them. It's a horrible feeling. All right, so let's just going from feeling bad and ineffective to feeling empowered. So that's the first one, is should to could. So if anyone here has done the Silver Method, which many of you have, and for those who are new, I'll just explain. We have a technique in the Silver Method for managing our inner dialogue, our negative self-talk, and we have cancel words. So the technique goes like this. You say a negative phrase about yourself, and then you go cancel, and override it with a positive one. So from now on, if you say, I should have remembered to pack my lunch, and you forgot it at home, let's say, cancel, I could have remembered. Just making that slight subtle change every time you use should to cancel, and write a new sentence, and you put the word could, you start to practice and train yourself to get rid of that word. It might sound like a real simple thing and it's just semantics, but there's so much neuroscience, and a book that I've got here in my office called How Words Can Change Your Brain, and everything matters and everything compounds and everything affects our self-esteem and our the feeling of loving ourselves or feeling bad and rejecting ourselves. So if we don't feel good about ourselves, we actually reject ourselves, and we start to take behaviors that demonstrate that. And that's what self-sabotage is. So if you think about self-sabotage or anything in your life that's holding you back, whether you procrastinate, whether you say no to things when you should say yes, or you perfectionist and don't start things you want to start, it all comes down to this feeling of how much we love and value ourselves. And this should could thing can shift that significantly. All right, so here's just another quote by Louise Hay. She says, I remove the word should from my vocabulary forever. Should is a word that makes a prisoner of me. Every time I say should, I'm making myself wrong or making someone else wrong. I am in effect saying that I'm not good enough. And that's a big deal. Okay, so cancel, and use a positive affirmation in the word could. Here's a beautiful quote by Wayne Dyer. With everything that has happened to you, you can either feel sorry for yourself or treat what has happened as a gift. Let's just think about that. You can either treat what's happened to you as something that makes you feel sorry for yourself, woe is me, or it's a gift. Everything is either an opportunity to grow or an obstacle to keep you from growing. You get to choose. And the word I love in this whole thing is the word choose. And you get to choose. So this is really about perception, how we view the world. So I just want to quickly talk now about blame. And we might just circle back to should and could towards the end again. So blaming and hero worship. Blaming is someone else is wrong, everything else is wrong. And hero worship is someone else is amazing and perfect in every way. So they're actually the opposite ends of the same externally directed behavior. So the question is, just unmute your mics. What is blame? Just tell me what is blame? Try to describe it for me. What does it help us? Why do we use it? What does it do for us?
It removes responsibility from yourself.
Perfect. That's the big one. That's the biggest one. It removes responsibility from yourself. Yep. Anything else? Thanks, Michelle. Anyone else? No? Well, Michelle's really summed it up. It's all about responsibility, taking it or abdicating it. And the way I'll describe it, if you want to make a note, is it's a convenient little device. It's a convenient little word that we use whenever we don't want to take responsibility for something in our life. So it's like an external refuge of an externally orientated person. So a person who's got an external locus of control will tend to use blame a lot. I'll just tell you this, all blame is a waste of time. Always has been, always will be. It will do nothing to help you, and it will do nothing to improve you, and it will do nothing to change you. And do we need to change? Yes, we all need to change. Everybody needs to change, and change how? Change for the better. We can all improve and get better and better. So blame is just a waste of time. So just again, the awareness of if we do catch ourselves blaming, just to catch ourselves and say, how can I view this differently? And how can I be a little bit more empowered today and give myself the ownership of how I'm going to feel in this moment, how I'm going to respond in this moment. The next thing I want to ask is, why is hero worship then similar to blame? How is it similar? You know, hero worship is someone else is amazing. So why would this be similar?
It's Michelle. In both cases, you're giving away your power to someone else.
Mm-hmm. Yes. Thank you, Michelle. So talk about hero worship and how that does that.
It's just, I think personally anyway, it's about not being worthy. And so you give more value to someone else.
Correct. So true. And sometimes when people do hero worship, what they actually do is they find themselves looking to others to determine their values. So we look at this person that we worship like that, and then whatever their values are become our values. Now, there's nothing wrong by improving your values with someone who's, you know, an admirable character of good standing and someone who's like a role model and a good example. But when it's just everything about them is what it becomes for you, it's exactly what you're saying. You give away your control, and we don't think about who we really are. And again, it's externally from yourself. We're finding all the value in an external person and thinking that someone is really much above us. No one is above anybody. We are all really equal somehow, some way in this world, and we all come into this world, you know, naked, and we're all going to leave this world with nothing. So in that regard, it's what our contribution here is that we have, or that we make, the contribution that we make, and that's where we start to see our value. So if you are intentional about adding value to others and are intentional about helping people, making a contribution somehow, some way, doing something that's meaningful to make the world a better place, like I say, creating a better world in any way, shape, or form, then you become the person of value. And that's what you want. You want to be the person who has more and more value. It can be the smallest thing. When the sun comes up tomorrow, whatever you do in your day, the first person you interact with, in the back of your mind, think, is there anything I could do to add value to this person? Let me step out of my comfort zone and just do that. And do it. And you'll feel better for it. You'll feel more valuable for it. You'll feel better about yourself, and that's increasing your self-esteem. So I just want to talk about that when it comes to hero worship. Then here's a lovely quote. If you blame others for something that happens in your life, then you must wait until they change in order to get better. So when we say, I can't be happy because my partner criticizes me a lot, well, then you saying you're going to be unhappy unless they change. No way. You choose to be happy every minute, and it's your choice. And if you think someone is not the best thing for your happiness, just using the same example, then you need to make a choice as to either accept and love them unconditionally and get on with it and be happy, or change your relationship, or change your partner, or change your life, whatever it may be. But whenever we think that somebody else needs to change before we can be happy, that's conditional happiness. That's conditional love. That's conditional everything. What we need to become are unconditionally happy people. And if anyone follows Abraham Hicks, a lot of the teachings go on about unconditional happiness. So in other words, I can choose to be happy no matter how you behave. How's that? How empowering is that? So the same things that used to irk you, you don't have to be irked. You can choose to be irked. And if you don't want to be upset about it, you can choose that. That's a very, very empowering feeling. So if you're making notes, just right there, I can choose to be unconditionally happy. And it's true. And to practice that for one day in your life, find a day where you're bound to be challenged by something or some person or some people. And on that day, say to yourself, today, I'm going to take it as a personal development challenge. I'm going to be unconditionally happy. I'm going to allow them to be who they are, no matter what, but I'm still going to be happy. And that's practicing it. And just remember, if anything comes up that's negative or makes you feel bad, if it's something someone else said in your mind, not out loud, in your mind, go cancel, and create a positive affirmation. I've got this self-positive. So if we blame someone else, we can say something, even if it's in our head. You see what he made me do, or look what he's just done, or I hate it when that person does something like that, or this just makes me angry when they do that. Then you go cancel, and put a self-positive affirmation. Cancel. I choose to let this go right now. I choose to remain calm when I usually used to get upset by this. I choose to actually be happy regardless of how they're behaving, whatever it may be. But just go cancel and change it and start to practice self-empowerment in the way you think, feel, and behave. And then just to quickly talk about, there's a trap of right versus wrong. How many people have this tendency to divide the world into extremes? Right, wrong, black, white, up, down, good, bad. Very few things in life actually fit into the category of right and wrong. The rest are just really our opinions. And you'll find that people who are quite self-aware or intelligent don't go into right and wrong, into categories when it comes to normal opinions and relationships with people. They tend to just steer clear of saying anything's particularly right or wrong and just have a respect for other people's different perspectives. And that's really where peace comes. Peace comes from respect. And no matter what your opinion is, having that feeling inside that I'll respect your opinion and I'll be happy if you respect mine, and not judge you and not say yours is wrong. Because if we get into anything that we believe in, and stick to that as being right, then almost everyone else is going to be wrong, because beliefs are just that, they are beliefs, but very few of them are actually facts. So there's a tendency in human nature to want to be right. And this is just the ego. And depending who you are and where you are in the taming of the ego, because it's like an evolution, we're going to fall onto the scale somewhere. It's like a spectrum of how important it is for us to be right or wrong. And you'll find the place it shows up most is in marriage or in your intimate relationship. And you'll find that often conversations that become a debate evolve into a contest of who is actually right and wrong, and who can, I don't know, debate more smartly or cleverly to kind of be right. And you'll find it shows up in relationships when you hear people say things like, you always think you're right. So if you ever hear that, let your be alarm bells and a red flag, or you hear the words, you never admit when you're wrong. Well, if that's your standpoint, it means that someone is right and someone is wrong, and that's really hardly ever quite true. It's just a different perspective, and we can have a breakdown in communication when it's all about being right. There's a quote that says, it's more important to be kind than it is to be right. Let people believe what they want to believe, and just say thank you for sharing that opinion. I've never thought of it that way. Thank them for showing you something different. But to be strictly right and strictly wrong is actually just a trap. It keeps us unhappy as well. So each person does see the world in a different way. There is not a single unifying objective truth. There really isn't. And we're all just limited by our perspective. So the more open-minded we can become, the better our relationships. And the biggest challenge of maturity is to try your utmost to see the world through someone else's point of view. Even if you don't agree with it, just try. Try to put yourself in their shoes and see, why would they think that? But really, with sincerity inside yourself, try to do that. And that really is a form of emotional maturity. Even if you don't agree with it, just to see how you go there. But just remember, things are not really truths, they're more perspectives. And then I want to talk about decision making here. Indecisiveness is actually a spin-off of right and wrong thinking. So if we can just try to eliminate right or wrong thinking in our lives as a general rule of thumb, we'll be happier overall. And when it comes to indecisiveness, it's actually a difficulty with making decisions, even with the smallest things, because we start to divide things into the category of right and wrong. So we think, well, if I made a decision and I got it wrong, oops, then, so I'd rather hesitate and think very carefully about the decision because I don't want to get it wrong. Well, indecision comes from the wanting to be right. And it's the postponement of the choice, which you try to actually postpone dealing with anxiety. Because the idea of being wrong, if you're a person who wants to be right, you're going to get anxious to think that you could make a choice that will make you wrong. It might be very subtle. You might not even know this at a conscious level, but you just hold back from making a decision quickly. Now, I can just tell you that indecision is very important for indecision or decision. Let me say this. How you make decisions determines a lot of our success. Decision making is so important in the book Think and Grow Rich. I mentioned it again. Decision is an entire chapter that Napoleon Hill dedicates to the book. Why? Because he said successful people make decisions quickly and hardly change them. Unsuccessful people take a long time to make a decision and often change them frequently. It might not be a big deal at first glance, but if you think that we make 30,000 choices on average a day, and your whole life up until now is an accumulation of your choices and decisions, then decision making is very important. It's paramount. So if we can get rid of this feeling of I'm going to get this wrong, just make a decision. If it is not the right one that you perceive to be right or the best one, well, the good is you've learned something. The best is if you apply what you've learned, you are going to improve. The other best thing that could happen is you made a decision quickly and you were correct. It was the best decision. Well, you're onto something better sooner. So no matter how you look at it, it's always better to be decisive. And think about it. If you want to challenge me on it, please bring your questions to the front and ask. But I, as a personality, used to be indecisive. I'm actually a Libran as a star sign, so it says that Librans are quite indecisive. When I learned this years ago, I thought, am I? And I was just to be very aware. And it's true. I'd go to a coffee shop and take forever to choose whether I'm going to have a banana bread or a muffin or, a cake or what do you want, Janine? What do you want? And I'm like, just hold on, let me just think. I'm thinking, if I this, take a menu out. Menus in restaurants that are more than one page, they used to drive me, up the wall, because I used to think, how am I going to choose? It takes so long to choose. And then eventually someone said, if you struggle with decision making with a menu, just say, whatever's the 8th thing on the menu, I'm going to pick that, and just start doing that. And eventually, if you choose the wrong thing, and think, just be quick and make a decision. So just make a decision, get on with it, and practice being quicker at decision making, because you will realize that it's just a bad habit, and it may play out in the coffee shop. But when it comes to big things like buying an investment property, buying your own home, who you're going to marry, big decisions, we find that this way we do small things are the way we do big things. And if you want to be successful doing big things, well, you've got to be good at the same process. And that process is decision making. So apply it from small to big. Practice decision making. It says here, there's something called indecision neurosis. So it's actually classified in psychology, and you can ease indecision neurosis by viewing all potential outcomes as being neither right nor wrong, neither good nor bad. They're just a choice. So I love that. And by the way, your effectiveness in life is not measured by your ability to make a right choice. It's actually how you handle yourself emotionally after any choice. That's really the barometer of how effective you are, or together you are, or mature you are, or whatever positive word you want to give yourself. It's how you handle yourself emotionally. So when you don't make the best decision, let's say in the old way you got it wrong, well, how do you deal with that? That's the determining factor of a successful or unsuccessful person. Not, oh my goodness, I got this thing wrong. And I remember being in supermarket retailing for years. I was in the industry in South Africa for quite a few years. And I had a boss once, I used to stress about putting the wrong thing on the front page. If you think of the Coles or Woolworths catalog, how they decide what products are featured on the front page is a massive process. Believe me, if you're in retail, you'll know that. And I used to stress about putting the wrong product there. And I had a boss who said, Janine, just make a decision and decide and do it quickly. And if you realize it's not the right one, the best thing to do is what? Make another decision quickly and fix it. And, never do that again, and learn from it. And if you do more and more of that, you're going to become great. But if you hold back and worry and stress and, play it safe all the time, how much you're going to really learn? So it's true. So just remember, it's how you handle yourself emotionally, but after making a choice which you think is right or wrong, is not so much about right or wrong. So I love this quote. Whatever course you decide upon, there is always someone to tell you that you are wrong. Always. There are always difficulties arising which tempt you to believe that your critics are right and that you are wrong. So to actually map out a course of action and follow it takes a lot of courage. That's why I said the greatest fear is the fear of criticism. If we can stop caring about what other people think and do things that you want to do for yourself, you become your own hero in your own story. And let it be you. Don't hero worship anyone. Be the hero in your story. Be the example in your family, in your friendship circle, of someone who is living a life that they want, they choose, and who is consistently true to themselves. That's the highest honor you could hold up as a flag, is being true to yourself. No shoulds, no blames, taking responsibility, making your own decisions, and saying no when you want to say no, saying yes when you want to say yes, and making no excuses for it. So I don't make excuses for not having a Christmas tree. I don't do it. That's me. I don't mind who doesn't like it. I don't dislike anyone who does have one. So it's about respect and making different choices. But have the courage to follow what you really believe in. That's the most important thing. And if anyone here has done the mastermind with me on As a Man Thinketh, we share the 7 levels of character, and there are many grades of character. But in the particular 7 levels, that's an easy way to view it. I just want to share with you, there's a line that divides the whole levels of character to the ones that are stressed out and always worrying and frenetic below, and the ones that are living a very peaceful, abundant life with everything living in the flow, everything working out for them, a lot of love and prosperity and the benefit of humanity, all those good qualities on the top of this dividing line. And what's the dividing line's name? The line of courage. The line of courage. Courage is the biggest word. It's when you start living your life, your true life. And that's what I really want for everyone. Live your true life and make no excuses for who you are. And remember, if ever you catch yourself thinking that you were wrong, cancel, and overwrite with a positive affirmation, and be kinder to yourself. Be more compassionate with yourself, more forgiving to yourself. If you ever think you made a mistake, cancel. I allow myself to make mistakes while learning. Cancel. You do. Allow yourself to make mistakes while learning. Everyone makes mistakes while learning, and that's okay, and it's a good thing. All right, so some strategies for removing some of your shoulds. Whoops. Let me just get my notes here. So the one is pay attention to every time you use the word should. That's the first step. And always question yourself. Do you do it a lot? Do you do it a little? And if you do it a lot, why are you burdening yourself with so many shoulds? Is it something that you just learned? And make a point of reversing that for yourself. Someone's asking me a question. FAIL means first attempt at learning. I love that. Thank you, Carly. Yes, FAIL is an acronym for first attempt at learning. Excellent. Thank you so much. Then the next thing is resolving to be different to the way you were taught to be. Tell yourself it's okay that anything that you're doing in your life, if it doesn't suit you anymore, it's okay to drop that and become you. So if that's a certain ritual, a tradition in your family, a practice, something that you just have to do because everyone else has always been doing it and you don't think it's really something you want to do, have the courage to drop that. So when I said earlier, all those shoulds, I should do this, I should do that, no. And remember that next to the word should, if you're making notes, just write the word guilt. That's what it leads to. It makes you wrong and just loads you with guilt, which is very unhealthy. So to be yourself in a world that is constantly trying to make you something else is the greatest accomplishment. So just be yourself and be true to yourself. And then when it comes to blaming, remember, we don't blame anyone. We take responsibility for ourselves in every way, shape, or form. If we're feeling bad, take responsibility for your feelings. And just decide for yourself that all unhappiness is a result of your own choice. Tell yourself that. If I'm unhappy, it's my choice. Write that down. Stick it on your mirror. Remind yourself, negative emotion is a choice. It's not something inflicted on anybody. No one forces you to think the things you think or feel the feelings that you feel. No one. And that's coming back to remind yourself constantly that any externally caused unhappiness just reinforces your own slavery, because it means that you don't have control over yourself. These people have control over you. They have control over your feelings, and nobody wants that. And remind yourself that what other people do is not actually what bothers you. It's your reaction to it. So whenever you bother, just say, it's not actually what they're doing that bothers me. It's my reaction to what they're doing that bothers me. That's what's actually the bothering problem. So that's just about blaming. So ridding ourselves of should and blame. It's always easy to blame others. You can spend your entire life blaming the world, but your successes or failures are entirely your own. And that's true. And it's all about the choices that we make. Okay, so just to sum up, let's take 100% responsibility for ourselves. Take control over your own thinking, your own feeling, your own behavior. And remember, there's no right or wrong, really. There's only your perception, your perspective, your viewpoint, and someone else's. And the highest level of respect and maturity is to, for once, just say, I'm going to put myself in this person's shoes. Try to see the world through their eyes. Do your best. And if it's really difficult, just say, thank you for sharing your viewpoint with me. I've never thought of it that way. instead of saying, oh, no, you're wrong. Because the truth is, no one's really wrong. No one's really completely right. So the other thing about overcoming indecision, I've just got here this acronym here, or this just short. Sometimes you win, sometimes you learn. It's actually the title of a John Maxwell book. But indecision, remember, there's no such thing as getting something wrong, because either you're going to win and get the thing right and the best outcome, or it's not going to be the right thing at all. But you don't lose anything, and you're not failing in any way. You can view it as a learning. What can I learn from this? And if you did apply that learning in your life, you would improve. So either way, it's always a gift. Always a gift. And then just remember removing should and replacing it with could. Be true to yourself. Have the courage to live your own life. And remind yourself that what other people do is not what bothers you. It's your reaction to it. So I hope that was helpful for anyone. If it was, you can say so. Or you can give me a thumbs up and let me know that that was helpful in any way. And teach this to someone who you think struggles with drama in their life. That really is drama. Like, they always got upset about something that's gone wrong or something, when actually we are in control of ourselves. So should also teach your kids about should, change it to could, teach your family, teach people at work, and just empower yourselves more and more. So thank you, everyone. We're now going to do a little guided meditation for anyone who's ready. And just before we do that, just what's coming up, just to share with you. So next week, Meaningful Monday, is the beginning of April, and the topic is the Life Isn't Fair Trap, which is from Wayne Dyer. I'm going to share that. Thank you, Janine. Pleasure, Michelle. Thank you so much. And then, thank you, Janice. Thank you too. Thank you so much. And then I've got a new mastermind coming up. When I say new, it's a new mastermind because I've never done this mastermind before. It's the Secret Science of Getting Rich, which let me just share here with you. I've got a slide on it. Hold on. So it's a 9-week mastermind. I've got the license to teach it from Bob Proctor. I've done the course myself more than once. In fact, I've done it so many times. I don't know how many, over many, many years, and reached out to get the license to teach it. So Bob Proctor has given me a lot of the resources, which I'm very grateful for. So there's an early bird price that's there, which is $100 off. And this mastermind, the price includes the book, which is inside a workbook. It gets printed for you, and 18 hours of a deep dive. If anyone's done the mastermind with me on Think and Grow Rich, I want you to be 100% assured it's completely different. It is totally different to Think and Grow Rich, and Think and Grow Rich is one of my favorite personal development books of all time. They're just very different. So the Secret Science of Getting Rich is not just about rich in money. Please understand, it's about rich in every area of your life, and particularly spiritually. The book is loaded with spiritual richness, because the truth is, there's no benefit or point in life or happiness in being monetary rich if we are poor spiritually or void of a spiritual fulfillment in our life. So it talks about the laws of the universe, how to live in harmony with them, and a whole lot of limiting beliefs and concepts that we probably adopted just from society, and how they show up and what role they play. So it's quite a lot of information. I'm just sharing you just a little bit of it. But if you want to know more, on my website, there's a bit of a like summary there if you want a book. I loved reading that book. Thank you, Janice. Not sure if it was this book or Think and Grow Rich, but if it's this book, yep, it's great. The Science of Getting Rich. And the original work is by Wallace D. Wattles, and it's over 100 years old. And just by the way, it's Wallace Wattles' book, The Science of Getting Rich, that inspired Rhonda Byrne to create the movie The Secret, and that became quite popular. And is it presented live or Zoom? It's both. So if you're in Sydney, you come here to the office. If you want to be with me, I'm in the office every single night of the mastermind. And people who want to come. And if you don't, I'm still going to be here. Otherwise, people who are out of town, I usually have a lot of people half in town, half out of town, you join via Zoom. So we do both. The people in the room are visible on Zoom. All right, then just about the Silver Method. The next class is in May, 4-day immersion, 13th to the 16th of May. I've just put there for 8 years old and up. Vandana brought her son, as I said, which is very wonderful. Well done. Great investment in your child. to the last silver method. He was 11 years old. So I have had children as young as 8 in my class, and the silver method can be done from age 8 and upwards. No trouble with that. They fit in very well. They love the intuition part. They do it really easily. They're often the best students in the class. So if you want to have your child do the silver method, I recommend joining that class. And
Get
then
a cancel at home.
I beg your pardon?
I'm getting a lot of cancel at home.
Well done. You know, is that from him?
Yeah, that's it.
Well, see how quickly they learn, and you know what, they end up teaching us much more. So to have a child do the silver method becomes the best teacher in the household. They start to teach you how to use the techniques that you learn first and try to teach them. So that's wonderful. Tell him I give him a high five.
Thanks.
Yeah, that's good. And then the next silver method online class, which is the only one, only doing one in 2021 this year, it's going to be in July, and it's over 2 weekends. So for anyone out of Sydney or overseas, or family that you know, or friends that you think might want to do the silver method from the comfort of their own home, that will be in July. Okay, so let's meditate. So what I'd like you to do is just grab yourself a pen and paper. I'm going to guide you into a bit of relaxation, and then at the end, I'm going to ask 3 questions. And what I want you to do is, without moving or opening your eyes, as much as possible, keeping them closed and stay in your meditation, just scribble the answers down on your piece of paper, and you'll find with certainty, if you are relaxed and you're in the alpha level or even deeper, potentially it could be in the theta level, that your intuition will step in and actually answer the questions. And that's why just write down your first impressions, don't analyze anything. And those are really answers of truth for yourself. And sometimes when we try to answer a question in the waking beta level state, like you are now, our logical mind answers. And Jose Silva used to say, when you answer with your left brain logic, you can most often get the answers wrong. But if you answer with your right brain, which is intuition, you will always, always, always be correct. So let's see how we go. The goal here, people, is just to relax. There's nothing to do, no test to write, just close your eyes and relax. And at the end, when I ask the questions, scribble on a piece of paper the first impressions that come to you, and just trust it for yourself. So I'll just put some music on. And if you've got any questions right now, you're welcome to ask me while I just get this up. Okay. No questions from anyone? All right. So I'm just going to put your mics on mute and okay, sorry, this is just spooling. It's taking a bit of time. So if anyone is new, I'll just share with you quickly. We're going to do a bit of a guided meditation where I'll guide you to relax your body from head to toe. We're going to create a waterfall of white light. We're going to stand under that waterfall of white light and imagine it washing over us and just clearing us of any stresses that we've had or any negative emotion, just like clearing your energy field. We'll turn that light into green light to represent unconditional love. And you just feel yourself being immersed in that unconditional love. Oops. Sorry. And then we're going to step out of that waterfall of light, and then we'll ask these 3 questions at the end. All right. So just make yourself comfortable. I'll just switch off my video. Make yourself comfortable. Take a deep breath. Just relax. Have pen and paper in a comfortable position on your lap, that you don't have to move too much when you're writing any answers down at the end. And just listen to the guided instructions and you'll be good. Okay. So close your eyes now. Take a nice deep belly breath. And as you exhale, just allow all the tensions in your body to release and kind of melt away. Take another deep breath in, one deep belly breath in the lower belly. Take a deep belly breath in, and as you exhale, just begin to consciously feel your body relaxing. Let's start at the top of the head and work all the way down. So start with the scalp. Feel your scalp relaxing. And then relax your forehead. Feel the tensions being released. Relax your eyes and the tissues around your eyes. Just relax your eyelids. Relax your cheeks. Relax your tongue and jaw. And now take a nice deep breath in, and as you relax and exhale, feel your shoulders relax. All the way through your arms and down to your hands. And just relax. Take another deep belly breath in, and as you exhale, feel the tension leaving your back, from your neck, all the way down to the end of your spine. Take a deep breath in, and as you exhale, relax your chest. Take a deep belly breath in, and as you exhale, relax your abdomen. Continue to breathe deeply, slowly, and rhythmically. And now relax your thighs. Relax your knees. Relax your calves. Relax your feet all the way down to your toes. You are now experiencing a deep state of relaxation. Just enjoy how wonderful it feels to be deeply relaxed. It's a very healthy state of being. You're now going to create in your mind your ideal place of relaxation. It can be real or imagined, somewhere that you've actually been or somewhere that maybe you'd like to go, and allow it to be a place where you feel totally relaxed. Begin to experience this place right now. Now that you've created your ideal place of relaxation, you're going to add a waterfall of white light into the scene. Place it wherever you choose. The waterfall is gentle, allowing you to stand under the cascading white light. The light is a healing energy, a clearing energy, Your waterfall of white light is now created. Walk over to the waterfall and stand under the white healing light. Allow the white light to swirl around you, encompassing you within its glow. Experience how this waterfall of white light is clearing away all the stress, the tension, and the clutter of not just today, not just the last week or the last month or the last year, but experience it clearing away the stress, tension, and clutter of your entire lifetime. Use your imagination to experience that clearing of all that stress, tension, worries, fears, adversities, sadness, any negative emotion of your entire lifetime. Imagine this waterfall of white light clearing your energy field, clearing your entire aura, your atmosphere. And as this white light clears your energy field, just notice how much happier you look. Notice the smile on your face. Notice how the weights you've been carrying are no longer a burden. Notice how your energy field is expanding out as you are radiating love. This waterfall of light is always available to you whenever you need it. All you need to do is close your eyes and imagine your ideal place of relaxation and immerse yourself in this healing white light. Now take a deep breath, relax a bit deeper, and repeat these beneficial statements to yourself mentally. Every day, in every way, I am getting better, better, and better. Positive thoughts, suggestions, and images bring me benefits and advantages I desire. I will always maintain a perfectly healthy body, mind, and immune system. The following statements are for your better health. Keep in mind that from now on, I will occasionally be speaking in your place. Every second, every minute, every hour, every day, every cell, tissue, organ, and system of my body is revitalized, restored, and renewed, resulting in a perfectly healthy body, mind, and immune system. I'm able to function in harmony physically, mentally, emotionally, and spiritually to promote maximum benefits. My awareness in using my mind allows me to do activities that promote increased health physically, mentally, emotionally, and spiritually. Now imagine the white light turns to green. You are now immersed in a glowing green light. This green light is unconditional love. It surrounds you. It encompasses you. It flows through your entire being. It fills you with love. All those hurts you felt all the pains you felt, the angry moments. Just allow this green light, this unconditional love, to heal all those spaces now. You are an amazing human being. You deserve love. You deserve joy. You deserve abundance. And you deserve peace. It is now time to step out of the waterfall. Step out of the waterfall of light. Your energy field is now clean and clear. You feel centered. You feel clarity. You feel more focused. You feel as if you are in the flow of universal love and energy. Just take a moment now to bask in this feeling of connectedness. You are connected to everything in this entire universe. On an energetic level, we are all connected. Feel that connection with universal source energy. You have now reset your body and mind for the month. It is now time to set your intention for the month. So tune now into your inner wisdom or your higher self. I'm going to count from 10 to 1. When we reach the count of 1, you will have tuned in to your higher self, your intuition, the part of you that when you tuned in, guides you and intuitively knows what is best for you. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. You have now tuned in to your intuition, your inner wisdom, the part of you that when you tuned in, guides you and knows what is best for you. Feel the alignment now with your higher self. Feel the connection. And ask yourself the following question, and whatever comes to mind, just write down your first impressions. Then take a deep breath, close your eyes, and re-enter the meditation. The first question is, what do I need to focus on for the month ahead? The month of March. What do I need to focus on for the month ahead? Write down your first impressions. Take a deep breath, close your eyes, and just re-enter the meditation and relax. The next question is, what steps do I need to take me closer to what I want to be, do, or have? What steps do I need to take me closer to what I want to do, be, or have? Write down your first impressions. And then take a deep breath and relax. And now the next question. What do I need to let go of? Write down your first impressions. What do I need to let go of? And then the last question is there anything else? Is there anything else I need to know or do? Is there anything else? And then allow a deep breath and relax. I'm now going to count from 1 to 5. When you reach the count of 5, you'll open your eyes, be wide awake, feeling fine and in perfect health, feeling better than before. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Eyes open, wide awake, feeling fine and in perfect health, feeling better than before. Feeling the way you feel when you've slept the right amount of revitalizing, refreshing, relaxing, healthy sleep. So thank you, everyone. Did anyone get any answers for themselves? Yes? Good. You can share if you want to share. Anyone? Got some thumbs up there. That's great. Just a reminder to trust the answers you wrote down. Trust them, trust them, trust them. And you can do this anytime with, on your own. Just relax deeply and have a question that you really want to answer. Relax deeply from head to toe and then just ask that question in a very relaxed state. Your first impressions, just go with that and write it down. Generally, we have access to our intuition. It'll always guide you right. So it's a tool you can use for yourself anytime in your life. So I hope that's been helpful. Thank you. Very good. Thank you, Janice. Thank you for joining. Very good that you joined, and I hope it was helpful for you. Thank you so much. Okay, I'm going to stop the recording.